My name is Elizabeth Mwangi. Welcome to Trinity Farm Fresh. I started this poultry farming in 2022. My background is in marketing. I've done international business administration from USIU. Finished in 2008. Been working for different parastatals. Decided to come into farming because I've had friends who are doing farming and I thought it could be something I could give it a shot. So I did work for companies for like 15 years, gained my capital and decided this is the best thing that I could actually do as a retirement thing and also learn different ways of farming plants and animals as well. So poultry farming, I started with 500 birds. I initially had to do a construction before that. They always recommend you do the height to your knee for stones or mabati or mbao. Then the whole place should be well ventilated. That's when you have the chicken wire, just to ensure that different birds don't get to the construction itself. Always ensure for layers you have the room very well ventilated, just because of the ammonia in the manure, so that it doesn't get to affect the birds. Now, if you're doing 500 birds, for layers, it's always, the recommended space is 2 feet by 2 feet. My premises hosts 1,000 birds currently, and it's 36 feet by 47. So this space is about, can be able to host between 850 to 900 birds. So 1,000 can fit very well, yeah.
$30 trays per day. That number taken multiply by 7, that is the number of trays that you get from these birds. We are here at Amna Boy Committee and we are here to see up the farmer who is doing this amazing work here. We want to talk to her to just understand what it takes for one to do layers and for one to do this kind of a project. Therefore, welcome to KI Africa. This is a channel where we bring you information on agriculture, new farming technology, and even sometimes talk about the markets. And we are here to talk to this farmer. Remember to share, subscribe, and even comment. And if you do want us to come to your farm, comment down there. We'll pick up the conversation and we will talk to you. Thank you very much. See you soon. So good morning. Today we are here, a place called Anma. And we are here to see the farmer who has done this amazing job, the wonderful job that you can see here. And I'll not talk much, I will allow her to introduce herself and tell us what she's doing. Welcome.
Good morning, my name is Elizabeth Mwangi. This is Trinity Farm Fresh. We breed chicken, mainly for layers, that's for eggs, that is. And I get my chicks from Kenchick from day one. So this batch that I'm having, I got them in January, 8th of January 2024. I got them as day one. So basically what happens on day one, this is where I brooded them from. You partition the room to a third. You make sure that the corners are, you have plywood on the corners so that the one-day-old birds may not go and clutter at the corners. Ensure that the room is well heated because they are small. Just like the way you'd have a small baby, you treat them as small babies as well. So you have these shavings that are on the floor. On top of them, you place a newspaper for them because they are not able to differentiate between wood shavings and their feeds. You place newspaper on top of the shavings. Then you put trays because they are not able to, their height is not able to have the bigger feeders. So you start with trays and you also have baby drinkers. At first you warm the room. You can either warm through infrared lighting, that is electricity, or you can use charcoal. There's a different Jiko just for the brooding purposes, but you can also brood with gas. In this time the first time I did with Jiko, but this time round I did with gas. So you brood for 3 weeks. I use 3 cylinders of gas. You must have thermometers at different corners so that you're able to check the temperatures. The recommended temperatures from day one to at least the first week should not fall beneath 35 degrees centigrades. around the clock, you're supposed to be around this place. You can't leave, maybe have bathroom breaks, but at the end of the day, you have to be here. It's either you or your help. We monitor them because at times the room might be too hot. They go to corners. When they go to corners, they'll clutter, and then they'll have stampedes. From the stampedes, of course, you'll have mortalities. Every other day, you're supposed to record mortalities. Basically, because of clustering, that's the only time they can die, because they come when they're pre-vaccinated, the first vaccination. From there on, first things first. When you place the food, you warm the water. Their drinking water should be warm, room temperature. Once you warm the water, you put in chick start and a little bit of paraffin just to open the throats for them to have that morale to eat. Once they start eating and taking the water, you keep on changing the newspapers, you keep on changing, add the feeds, you keep on changing the water. This is a very crucial time, the first week. Hygiene is number one. That is where if you do not clean the drinkers well, you'll have infections. If you have infections, one bird can make the others die. So once you have a bird that is a bit sluggish, you kind of remove it from the batch just to ensure that it does not infect the others. At all times when there is mortality, always make sure you call your vet for him or her to do a post-mortem, just for them to realize what could have been the root cause of the death, so that you're able to treat the others to curb them from more deaths. As they grow, that is the second week, you keep on expanding the room. The thing is, you also have to have double-sided gunias on all the sides so that you're able to contain the heat inside. That's why we've done the gunias on top and used to have the gunias on the sides. When it's during the day, because of temperatures and you also need fresh air, you just remove the gunias from top to down, not down to up. Because when you do down to up, there's too much upepo, too much wind. So when you do up to top, from top coming down, the fresh air is able to circulate very well in the room. So do that for at least 3 weeks. They should be covered. All corners should be covered.
And in brooding, you have said there is a time you are using charcoal, and then the second time you used gas.
Yes.
What is the cost implication moving from charcoal to gas?
Okay, charcoal is a bit, is not as expensive. Gas is expensive, but the good thing about gas, once you light up the gas burner itself, you can go and do your other errands. But with the charcoal, you have to akisha the charcoal outside for it to be heated enough. Then there's the ammonia aspect, carbon monoxide, sorry. Once that gets into the cuckoo's system, might be, okay, not as bad, but it's better to be safer than sorry. So this time I decided to use gas. It's a bit pricey, but yeah.
Then I have seen two types of brooders.
Yes.
I have seen people who do their own, the local ones. And then I have seen someone else who is doing like the improved one. Which one are you using? There is the one that I think come with that gas in the...
Personally, I use the improved one. I use the gas. You can have two options. Yes. You can either buy, the gas gadget is this small. Is this a small thing? But now you need the cylinders, the 50 kg cylinders. And for those 3 weeks, you'll use a bit, like around 4. And those 4, assuming one is 12,000, that's already 48K, you know? Then that gas brooder gadget, this small, but it costs you 25. It is expensive, yes. But if you're doing broilers, I would recommend you actually buy it, because every other 3 weeks you'll be brooding. But for someone like me who's having layers, I only brood for 3 weeks. The next time I'll brood maybe next year when I'll have more babies. But for a layers farmer, I don't think it's cost implications of buying one. It wouldn't be a wise investment on it. Yes.
Okay, then you said about the temperature. What is the recommended temperature when you bring them?
Recommended temperatures from day 1 to at least the first week. It shouldn't fall, that's the first 7 days, it shouldn't fall beneath 35 degrees. Yeah. It is between 33, 34, 35, isishuke kutoka. Okay. As they get the feathers, they're able to retain their own heat. Now you go on reducing. The second week, that is up 7 to the 14th day, you can do 30 to 31, 32. Then from the 14th day to the 21, you can play around between 28, 20, 29, 30, and that's it.
Okay.
After that, once they get the feathers and they're able to retain their own heat, you can do away with the gas brooding. In fact, the brooding is only supposed to be for 21 days. Okay. After that, just open up the whole space, let them play around, let them fly. The birds are supposed to be free and yeah.
Okay. So we are done here on 21st day, and you're taking them up. Yes. What is required as we go up?
Before you take them up, always look at the room that you, like right now where we are, it can hold, a layer bird should have, the spacing should be 2 feet by 2 feet, okay? Downstairs, this room, the way it was constructed, can fit around 850 to 900. The reason why I moved them upstairs, there was a night when power went off, and these birds are not used to darkness. So they kind of ran to one corner, they clustered on each other at 5 weeks, and I lost 350. Initially, there were 1,500. So those are some of the challenges that we undergo.
50?
Yes.
One night?
Yes. So those are some of the challenges that you undergo. Okay. So it is important once you have the chicks, teach them to know that there is dark hour. Like every other night, unaweza poesha steamer like for 2 hours for them to know it's time for them to sleep. Yes. But now when you do the lighting the whole night, they'll never know what dark hour is. So it's always important to do at least an hour or two every other day. And when you don't be outside when you're doing that, be inside. So what happens, ikifika 6 as you go to 8, usiwashe taa. Just wait, giza ingie. But make sure you're inside so that when they go to corners, you go and scatter them. Okay. Yes.
Tell us about feeding from day 1 to when they start laying.
Feeding. For the first 21 days, that is when they're at brooding stage, they eat, yes, but most of it goes to wastage. So what you need to do, because you need to get them to the right weight, it is important that you use, as opposed to starting with chick mash, start with chick crumbs. Ni kama mchele hivi. So they eat that for, ikona so much proteins and so much calcium, itawasaidia ku gain the weight. Every other week, assuming you have 1,500 birds, you're supposed to measure 10% of those birds. So now in this case of mine, I had 1,500 birds. So every other week I had to measure 150 birds. So what you do, you take a weighing scale, take a bucket, put a number of them, like 6 or 10, measure them, then toa weight your bucket so that you know the average weight per bird. There's a chart I will share with you that shows you week 1, week 2, the amount of weight they should weigh. If they weigh anything lower than that, it means you're not feeding them well. When you're not feeding them well, or you're giving them low amounts of feeds, because every week has its own grams per bird. If you give them low feeds, it means by the 18th week, which is 4.5 months, they will not have started laying. But if you give them ample food, and every other week when you measure them, they give you the right weight, trust you me, they will even start laying early. Like for my case, they started laying at 16 weeks. They're supposed to lay at 18 weeks. Okay. But it's because sikuwa nawapimia chakula. Ndio nawapatia kipimo yao, but every other week I'm measuring them. Okay. So the first 3 weeks, it is prudent for you to use chick crumbs, boost their weight immediately. Then from week 3 all the way to week 8, you give them chick mash. Chick mash, sasa hiyo tu ni ya kuwanenepesha. Then when it comes to 8th week all the way to 10th week, no, all the way to 18th week, those are 10 weeks. You're supposed to give them growers mash. Growers mash sasa ndio ya kuongeza sasa kilo vizuri. Because by the time they are starting to lay, they're supposed to be weighing 1.7, 1.8, maximum 2. Okay. That's the time now watakuwa wako wakubwa enough na feathers na thighs wako sawa, then they should be starting laying by that time. So you have 3 types of feeds. First week to 3 weeks, chick crumbs. 3rd week to 8th week, chick mash. 8th week to 18th week, chick growers mash. Now, when you're doing transition from this stage to that stage, there's a way you're supposed to mix the feeds. You just don't introduce the feeds. There's a ratio. Like now, if you're moving from chick crumbs to chick mash, you do 75% of chick crumbs, 25% of where you're going. That is chick mash. The second day you do 50%, 50%. Una mix kwa ndoo, unachanganya. And this time when you're doing that, you're supposed to give them vitamins. Kwa sababu you're introducing them to a feed that they are not used to. Ndio wasikose kukula. On the third day, you do 25% of the chick crumbs where you're coming from and chick mash of where you're going to. Then after the third day, now you go 100%. All this time, you're giving them vitamins. Okay? The same applies when you're moving from chick mash to grass mash. It's the same ratios that apply. Now, when you're moving to layers mash, that is the end. Sasa pale wameanza kutaga. You can only do that if, and only if, when you've seen, like now, if you have 1,500 birds, when you have 5% of eggs. So wameanza kutaga, but sasa uko na tray zako. So you do 5% of 1,500. How many eggs are those? Once umeona hizo mayai na zimetosha, now you go to layers. You still do the ratios. Now you completely go to layers. Yes.
So before we go to the laying part of it, from day one you have 1,500 to the part where they are coming to lay 4 weeks.
4.5 months.
4.5 months, not weeks. By then, you spend how much if you have 1,500 birds? Like how much? What budget do I need to have?
Before you actually purchase the birds, feed is the most expensive component in all this. Fine, umetoa pesa ya kununua chicks. At this point in time, a chick is going for 140.
One chick.
Yes, one chick, a day old chick. So you take your 1,500 multiply by 140. You shall lipa deposit, kenchi kunangojea kuku wako. As you are waiting, there are the trays you need to buy. There are the drinkers you need to buy. You need to do the automatic drinkers if that's what you'll be using, or the manual ones. Depends with your mfuko. Then there is vaccination. Kuna madawa pia. From day one, kuna madawa, they come pre-vaccinated, yes. But there are different drugs, kuna ya maji na kuna ya kudungwa. So from day 12 to day 14, there's the Newcastle. That one you administer kwa maji. So what you do, you thirst the birds. Asubuhi na mapema, usiwapatie maji for 2 hours. Then utaenda kwa chemist, kwa agrovet, ununue ile dawa. Once you come with it, you mix it with plain water ambayo haina chlorine. Reason why it should not have chlorine, ita make your dawa isikue effective. So use plain water, maji ya mvua ama maji ya kanjo. Then you mix the dawa inside the bucket. Usimixie hapa juu, usifungulie hapa juu kwa sababu most of it will evaporate. So you open inside the maji. When you're buying the dawa, already you've been told how many liters you should mix it with. Once you mix it, you give it the birds. They drink it. It should not last more than 3 hours kwa sababu sasa tena itakuwa effective kwa hiyo. But the fact that you've tested them, wako na queue. So they'll take the dawa. Once they take the dawa, throughout that day, give them plain water with no chlorine, nothing. Plain water. So ndio ile dawa is sinking into the system. That whole day wakunywe plain water. The following day, give them vitamins, ndio iwapatie motisha ya kukula. Anytime you're giving vaccine ya maji, always do that. So day 12 to day 14, you give them Newcastle. Day 16 to day 18, you give them gumboro. Hizo mbili ni za maji. Sawa? When you get to week 6, and between week 6 and week 8, there's a fall typhoid. Fall typhoid inadungwa kwa thigh. Okay? So utashika kuku moja, adungwe thigh. So what you do, you divide the room into two. So unadunga pande ile, wanarushwa pande ile. Okay? So yes, fall typhoid. So when you get to week 8 to week 10, bado kuna shindano nyingine inaitwa fall typhoid, fall pox. Hiyo inadungwa kwa wing. Same. Divide the room, pick, dunga, rusha. Dunga, rusha. Then hizo ni za kudunga. Week 12 to 14, you repeat now the fall typhoid again. Hiyo ya thigh. Unadunga tena, unarusha. Then you're done with the vaccination. So hapo umeweka apparatus kwa bei, kwa budget, umeweka bei ya kuku, umeweka vaccination, umeweka brooding hapo mambo ya gas, kama ni makaa, wood shavings, feeds. Hizo ndio inabeba the cost of everything else. So I always advise farmers, for every bird, to get them to the point of lay, have 1,000. So if you're expecting 1,500, 1.5 iko inangojea kwa account. Because the bird will not know leo huna pesa.
Yes.
And the worst thing you can ever do is downgrade or down standard on the feeds.
Yes.
Once you've started with unga, please continue with unga all the way to the end. So choose the feeds that unajua mfuko yako utatosheleza, proceed nao mpaka mwisho. The reason why when you mix feeds, assuming they've started to lay, they'll cut on the egg production. The reason why I choose Fugo, I've had testimonials from different farmers. They'll get to you to 97%, of which I enjoy right now. They're doing 37 trays per day, which is 97.5. So, and they'll lay for 2 years. So kudos, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they go, that was my next question. Yeah. You started at 4.5 months. You go all the way to 2 years.
Yes, they will lay for 1.5 years to 2 years.
Yes.
The reason why they say 1.5 is, say washaanza kuzeeka. The first year you'll enjoy hizo 90%, 95, 97, hivyo. But once they chapa 1 year, now you'll come to the 80s. Okay. The 85, 83. Now, also because of changing weather, there are times it's very cold. When it's very cold, like now, they've dropped in their production. So they kind of, if they are doing 97, they come to 93. Okay. Not so much, but you'll see a drop. Okay. When they get to those 2 years, 1 year, 9 months to 2 years. Now, when you see yourself getting to below 70, it's time for you to sell because it will start eating into your profit margin.
Okay. Yes. How long will it take me? I have started with 2 million because of all those things you have said. How long will it take me to recover my money?
Okay. First and foremost, you need to have that money in the account. Sawa. You're putting in your investment, your capital and everything. Now, when they start laying, okay? Umeanza kuzipeleka kwa soko. A tray right now on wholesale is around 400, okay? Yeah. So if you're doing 37, do 37 multiply by 400. Hiyo ndio pesa mayai imekuletea. Yes. Sawa. Yes. Per day, a laying bird should be eating 135 grams, okay? So you take 135, multiply that by the 1,500. You get to know how many kilos. Like right now, my birds are feeding on three bags. That is 150 kilos and a half, okay? So you do cost per bag. Ukishafanya cost per bag, utoe kwa ile pesa yako una make per day from the egg sales. Haya, ukishafanya hivyo, now utoe pesa yako ya mtu wa kazi na pia wewe ujilipe, uone how much you're making. But in the long run, pale mwisho, you know you'll sell these birds as X layers. They go for between 450 all the way to 550. So already ile thao ulikuwa umeekelea, umerecover nusu. Umerecover nusu. Haya, hii pesa nyingine umekuwa ukitengeneza from the sale of eggs. So in the long run, you'll still get your money and more than that 2 million will still get your profits.
Okay. Yeah. What is the minimum number you can advise someone to start with?
As minimum as 10, as minimum as 50, it all depends with your money. But for me, I started with 500 birds. I wanted to learn the challenges, how it is to raise a bird from day one all the way to what they are. Because right now they are 1 year, 5 months into laying. I started with 500, they only died 10, so I have 490. So for me, it was a success story.
Very.
Geez, if you can make 50K in a month, if you do 1,500, you can get to 200 and
something. Yeah. Then why layers?
Why layers? Yeah, layers. Broilers for me was a challenge. I saw it as it would have been a challenge for me because one, broilers, they eat, yes, just like layers, they eat, yes. But now the challenge with broilers is zikifikisha 4 weeks or 5 weeks kama huna soko, where to take them. Yes. You'll be very stressed. Reason why, so utakuwa unazifeed na pesa habado ujaweza kuziuza. So me I always advise, if you're doing broilers, by the time una get huyo kifaranga, huwa unajua the market where you're taking them. If you have the market, by all means go for it. If you don't have, please don't try. Or even if you don't have a generator or have backup like a freezer. Ukifika hiyo wiki zimefika, we chinja zote ziweke, ile siku utapata soko uze, but you see now hiyo ni pesa umelalia. Yeah, so if you don't have market for it, just go for layers. But you know now broilers is cash every month, so kuna wale wana enjoy that, but for me
can we satisfy the market mayai?
No. Me always say food, watu watakosa kula.
Yeah.
People will never lack to eat. Like now for eggs, personally I supply to someone who supplies supermarkets, supplies hotels, supplies our kugonga mayai. Yeah. So for me, market wasn't an issue because before I even decided to start, I knew where I was taking them. Yeah. You have bakeries,
so
you
there
have
is market
schools.
for eggs.
Yes.
Okay.
You have hospitals, you have hotels. Kukula lazima.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've done this for more than 1 year.
Yes,
is it paying? Look at that and tell the young people whether farming pays.
It is paying, but it only calls for discipline. Farming can be very challenging, especially kama wewe ni mkulima wa simu. But kama uko kwa ground, making sure for that every other coin, unaamka asubuhi, making sure that everything is done the way it's supposed to be, then kudos, you'll make your money. Make sure you get 4 layers. I would say make sure you get the right bird. As you can see, I'm branded Kenchik. Make sure you get the right feeds. I do unga for my birds and usafi. Usafi, usafi, usafi and management. Record everything. Siku ya kudungwa mashindano, record mayai umerokota ngapi, record mortality ngapi, umeuza ngapi, have the math. And at the end of the day, once you do your math and it's mathing, then you're in business.
And that, my friend, is my time. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you would want us again to come to your farm, remember to comment below. We'll pick up that conversation and we'll come to your farm so that we can continue spreading this gospel. Remember to share, subscribe and even comment. Till next time, my name is Mwangi. See you.